Hi, it's me again with Corel Roll Tips and Tricks, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce this symbol. It's a mythical symbol in Hinduism, and somebody asked, so I found one on the internet. I don't see any geometrical formulation that you can do this with, but I draw one. I draw one. I drew one. I think it came out pretty good and pretty close. He was having trouble with the corners, match it up. So I thought I'd just show him how I drew it. And this object, and we're going to I'm going to change it real quick to inches, just so I'll know. And I'm not, so this thing is 8.3, so I'm going to make my nudge factor 9. And I'm just going to start drawing triangles. And I'm going to use the polygon tool, set on 3 points. And I'm just going to start drawing triangles, not holding down the control button or anything. I'm going to make them in red. I'm going to make them a little bit, well, you ought to be able to see that on your monitor. And he was having trouble with the points lining up, and I kind of had problems. I think that's what his problem is. But I'm just going to kind of get it relatively close. I'm going to set my nudge factor on something pretty low now, 0.001. And I'm going to lightly nudge this up till it's kind of in that line. Okay? Now, and I could nudge the whole thing over later. I would like to have my nudge back. So now I'm going to take that line, I'm going to Control D and make a duplicate of it. And there's triangles going all through here at different angles, so I'm going to go there and just kind of put it there and then squish this one up. So if you're not interested in this, you can just stop watching at any time. But it is pretty neat. There's a couple of factors I'm going to use here in a minute to change. And then Control D. So that triangle, if they're equal, should match that other triangle, but it doesn't because I kept making it smaller and smaller and smaller. And I'm not going to take the time to rework the whole thing. And then there's one more triangle right here. And I think it's almost a perfect triangle, so I'm going to get the polygon tool and hold down the control button and kind of draw a perfect triangle. Let's make it red and put it right here and kind of expand it out to here and move it around. And of course, it's pretty much a perfect triangle. So I've got those 3. I'm going to nudge this out of the way 9 inches. Well, what I can do is grab all these and nudge them out of the way. So there's those 3 triangles. I think that's all there is going upward. 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got those 4. Now I'm just going to, in some ways, I thought it would actually reduplicate itself. So let's take this triangle and Control D and make a duplicate of it and mirror it upside down and see if it doesn't fit into that triangle. And it does, so we're going to nudge that over. I kept looking at this and I kept kind of getting, it's really confusing which way the triangles are going. So now we need this triangle, and I'm just going to, let's try this triangle, Control D, mirror it, nudge it over. And this is kind of hard on your eyes. And for the video, I'm just going to kind of get it close. And I'm going to say that's good enough. And so we've got those 2 triangles. I'm just going to start back with the polygon tool and try to draw. You really get confused which triangle is what. I'm going to try to draw this triangle. Of course, I need to flip it and turn it red. And just left clicking the mouse and make it fit in that spot. Now, and I'm not worried about them being exactly centered yet, because I'm going to show you a couple little tricks. So I'm going to call that good. Well, I guess I already had that one. I need this one right here, and it looks like almost a perfect triangle. So we'll Draw it holding down the control button. Flip it. Turn it red. I hope you can see that on your monitor. Get the pick tool to move it. And I'm going to call that good. I'm going to nudge that over. And I might be missing one. I'm missing this one right here. So let's make one more and then we're going to continue. Flip it because the polygon tool is going to draw it that direction. And so all I'm doing is expanding it out and then shortening it up. And then I'm going to hit P and then make it red. Now, they're all kind of offline or off center. And that one's not right. Let me back up here. No, that one's right. This one, and I'm sorry about this, I'm going to nudge that over. No, that's right. And that one looks right. But those should be further apart. You know what it is? It's this triangle right here. And that's what I was saying. It's kind of plays tricks on your mind, and maybe that's what it's about. It's really hard to figure out which triangle's what, because I think I already got that triangle. All right, let's just go with the triangles we got. The person that I'm doing it for can figure it out. So they're all misconstrued, and if we take you know what? Let's do this. Let's group them together, Control G, and then put P and put them in the center of the page. And I've got an indexing line, and you can see that I'm not in the center of the page on all of them. So let's take this and ungroup it, go to Group and Ungroup, and hit C. That put them in the center of each other one. And we're a lot better. We're still off a little bit. But what he was having trouble with, I think, is that the lines were intersecting. They weren't very close. So what you have to do to be able to do this is select them all. And you can see you've got 7 objects, and go up to object and convert them to curves. Because if you don't do that, the polygon tool will take over and not let you do what we're fixing to do. And we're going to grab that one right there and just move it over. Move it over till it intersects that line. Now we've actually, looks like a bow in it. So we'll take that center one out. And I think this video is going to be just for one person. And I'm going to go ahead and put it in the center now. I'm going to take away that node. And I'm not worried too much about that looks pretty good. So now what we need to do, and this one needs to come down probably. But since you're using the shape tool, you can move them without messing them up. Because if you don't, the polygon tool won't let you do that. Now let's select them all and make them a little bit thicker and black. And then I'm going to show you the real reason I decided to make the video. Let's make them 2 points. Okay, if some of the tips are past the line, we can take the whole thing and object and convert outline to an object. And then we can take the virtual segment delete key and actually delete that little nub that's above I think this is what he was having trouble with. The little nub that's just sticking past because the line's thicker. And just get your virtual segment delete key until it moves perpendicular. Now that might happen, but just take your smart fill tool and fill that line back in. So I'm going to do one more, and I hope you got the idea. And I'm answering the question. That didn't work. We might have to take the node and just move it in. Anyway, so we've done that. I'm gonna, I've lost some color in that one, but just take the smart fill tool. And that's because we made it an object and we took away some of the color. So let's call that good. I'm not for sure. I don't think I've got all the triangles, but he can figure that out. Control G, group it together and hit P. I'm going to stop and I'm going to show you how I drew this. This was pretty easy and a little bit better lesson maybe for some of you. I missed that part right there. But anyway, if you'll stay tuned for part 2, we'll draw this outer part. There was a little bit of a trick. Hope that helped a little bit. Thank you for watching.